Welcome to Transformation Matters. Shift from grumpy to grateful, from heartbroken to happy, from helpless to hopeful, from jealous to joyous, and cluttered to clarity. Using 12 themes from the book Live Inspired, Stories of Brave Self-Discovery and the Wisdom Gleaned Along the Way, I will be sharing an idea, a brief story, and tips you can practice for a holistic transformation of your heart, space, and life. I'm Laura Staley, founder of Cherish Your World and author of Live Inspired. I passionately guide people to heal, transform, and thrive. Today, I'm sharing about breakthroughs in being alive with a brief story and some tips, ideas. Many of you have heard the word breakthrough. You might be curious what it actually means in this context. We often think of a breakthrough as an important discovery, often in the world of science. But in this place of self-discovery, it's really about that shift in how you experience being alive on a daily basis. Self-discovery for me has been about inner liberation and a sense of fulfillment. It's like finding that sweet spot inside of you that you can return to over and over and over again, kind of a dynamic equanimity that will never leave you. And you know it's there always inside of you. And you can experience life from that place and see the wonder and the awe of any given moment. To experience life on life's terms from that quiet presence and a radical honesty about who you are, both human. Well, yeah, you're watching and listening and experiencing people, places, and circumstances. But it's almost like this merging of what is human and what some people would say is divine or spiritual. That awakened consciousness is another way you could describe it. Wow, I have been on an exceptional, extraordinary healing journey for years. An important moment was that moment that I realized I wanted to participate in a transformational workshop given at the time by Landmark Education. And actually, it was the first time I had ever heard the word transformation, and that alone had me curious. And I remember reading the pamphlet and then stuffing it in a glove compartment as I drove away for my honeymoon after my second marriage. And my former brother-in-law had handed the pamphlet about Landmark Education to me. And then I read it like a year later. I was waiting for some friends and opened the glove compartment and decided to clean it out. And there it was, and I read it all the way through and thought, wow, I really want to participate in this workshop. So I walked in and I began the journey of asking myself over and over again what I was pretending, and looking at the places where I didn't know that I didn't know about myself and life and people, and what it meant to be human, and what it meant to live a fulfilling life, what it meant to create a life that I loved living, and what it meant to live empowered, to speak from my heart, to listen from my heart, to listen with presence and quiet in my mind. Like what is that? So I got really curious. And I loved and gained value from many of these workshops, but I also came to recognize that I had challenges with my rage and PTSD. So I sought the support of body workers in the form of cranial sacral therapy and somatic trauma resolution. Those are my two pathways. I know there's lots and lots out there to support people healing trauma. So just know that these are the two that I double teamed myself with, along with lots of reading, self-help, and discovering what I had actually experienced as a child. So I read books like I Hate You, Don't Leave Me, to come to some understanding of my own mother's dynamics, because that relationship in particular was very difficult. But there were traumas that happened outside of my childhood home. And as I engaged this work, I uncovered every single trauma that I had experienced, not to relive it, but to transform it, to heal it, to release it. A lot of times trauma gets trapped in the body and needs to be released through the body. It's energy, quite simply. We now know Peter Levine has written a number of books on resolving trauma. And I found his analogy and learning from the deer. We have that expression, oh, I was caught deer in the headlights. Well, literally deer, if they haven't been hit by the car and just caught in the headlights, they have that moment of freeze, which we all do. We do that in our bodies when something traumatic happens. We get shocking news. Something that shocks the nervous system is trauma. And that once they know they're safe, they run off and they shake. So shaking is a really profound way that deer know how to literally shake off that shock to their nervous systems, and then they stand back up and they go about eating and mating and living their lives. So I engaged that process, and it was very intense. I learned how to clip the wires that led to the bomb of rage inside of me. That's my way of describing it. I learned what my triggers were. But mostly I learned to tune into my body and really began to feel the sensations and flow through those sensations before I spouted words or, just said things that I really didn't want to say. It helped me pause. Some ideas to pass along. And I would say that process continues as I have more and more moments of calm and living from that sweet spot. I just feel unrecognizable to my former selves who lived terrified. Like I'm no longer that traumatized, terrified, people-pleasing victim who presented like I had it all together. I softened and feel more real in my heart and in my life than I ever have. And of course the gratitude, which I know I spoke of in a couple podcasts back. Well, first of all, if you know you have experienced traumas, I urge you to seek professional support. Because it's in your body and you cannot think your way out of it. You must heal what happened to your body in your body. So no mental or mindset shift is going to bring that about. We forget sometimes in our very thinking culture that our bodies hold great wisdom, and so does your heart. So this is not about reliving the trauma, but flowing the trapped energy out of your body. There's another idea that I love and that really supported me. I got involved in Nia dance movement, and they have what is called the 5 stages of healing, and you're welcome to Google this. There's the embryonic movement, there's creeping, and then crawling to standing and walking. And these incredibly powerful movements can be practiced in the comfort and safety of your own home. You can Google Nia Dance 5 Stages of Healing to see the videos of these movements, but then discover what these movements feel like and look like in your own body, because every one of us is different. Some people don't necessarily crawl. They scoot. When they were young, they scooted on their bottoms. And that's the way they got around. So every person is unique and different, but those stages of development, from embryonic all the way to walking, are really pretty profound to get to do them in your adult body and see what you see and feel and learn about your body and healing as you go through those movements. Yoga practice is another one, as well as belly dancing. I think any kind of movement is really pretty profound. It's interesting. Some people just struggle to meditate, and that's probably because they've just got a lot of charged emotions locked up that just need to be released through the body. So any kind of movement, running, biking, stomping in place, pretending you're a roaring tiger, all those kinds of things can really support your body releasing and creating those breakthroughs. Moving through the emotions. Emotions, again, they're energy and motion. It's energy. All of these are energy. So grieve the loss. Take the time. When the wave comes up, see, the thing about grief is it often just kind of like comes over you. You're watching a commercial, and I know I saw a commercial not too long ago about Klondike bars, and I started crying because I remembered my dad loved Klondike ice cream bars. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I've learned to just allow the feeling to come up. Now, obviously, if you're in a business meeting, you kind of like, want to put it on pause and, get yourself to the bathroom in the privacy of the bathroom as soon as you can, but sort of put it on hold until you can actually allow the emotion to flow through. But suppressing your emotions is not a good idea. I don't recommend it. This is really bankrupt. And I know a lot of us have been taught not to feel and not to cry and not to show emotion. But it's super important to use your body as an instrument of healing. Here's some other ideas along those lines. You can scream in your car. You can punch pillows. Power walking while purging those pent-up emotions. Weep in the hot shower or hot bath. I know I've done that lots and lots of times, and it really, really... nothing like a good cleansing cry. What do they call it? The ugly cry, right? Another idea is to connect with people who have come through hard challenges, whether it's trauma or just a difficult experience. Maybe it's the loss of a child or a loss of a loved one, and seek those individuals' wisdom, or just know that it's a safe place to be heard because people get it. They know what you've been through. They know, they have their sense of what that was like. Find that small group of people where you feel safe to share about your experiences, and know that they will be gracious and loving and supportive of your process. There's so many people on these paths, and we know so much more about the brain, body, mind connection. Neuroscience is making discoveries. Talk about breakthroughs. Oh my gosh, right? They're making discoveries on a daily basis, I think, about how our brain works and how we process our lives, and how we can make pathways to that prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking, rational thinking part of our brain that we can think through choices and pause before we just react. So what has you feel different? You can become, like I said about myself, become unrecognizable to your former selves. You're just like not thinking those thoughts anymore or doing those behaviors anymore. And wow, what a release. what a release and a relief. All right, next time we'll discuss get your house in order. with a brief story and tips to support your self-discovery, transformations in your experience of being alive. This is Transformation Matters with your host, Laura Staley, founder of Cherish Your World and author of Live Inspired, passionately guiding people to thrive. You are loved more than you can even imagine. You matter to our world. Till next time.